I'm intrigued to hear what you have to say about the Mavericks.
All right.
So yeah, it's obvious that Luka is carrying the fuck out of the Mavericks right now, and even though they got to the conference finals last year, a team that is carried so much by one player, where everything flows through him offensively, it has a ceiling, and I think that ceiling is like the conference finals are getting swept in the NBA finals, and we saw them reach the conference finals and then just get beat. Did they get swept or they get one game? Did they get one game against the Warriors?
I don't even know if they got one game, did they? Oh, they got one game. I mean, they went back to Oracle to play. I remember.
Yeah. So they definitely are going to have to get the man some help, because he's going to tire himself out if he has to do this year in and year out just for the Mavericks to have a 4 or 5 seed. If he has to do this and drop 60, 20, 10 games on multiple nights throughout the season, he's going to get tired of it. He's going to want some help eventually. Like, he's going to need a star. The Christian Wood has played better than I thought he would, but I still feel like if you have Jalen Brunson on this team, who's played really well in New York, I think he'd still... Because he's closer to a star than Christian Wood is.
He'd help take the load off Luka a lot compared to Christian Wood.
Because it's another guy that you're confident that can handle the ball, whether it's facilitating for somebody else or getting his own offense. Like, they have Spencer Dinwiddie, but Brunson's obviously better. Tim Hardaway is what he is. Like, he is ridiculously inconsistent.
There's spot up shooters around Luka. That's basically it. They can't really do anything else but shoot. That's really how it is.
Yep, that's pretty much what it is, man. They do have the 8th best offensive rating and the 10th best defensive rating, because they have defenders like Dorian Finney-Smith. He's like a very versatile defender. And the offensive rating is top 10, but like I said, in playoff and high-level basketball, when you're only playing against like other playoff teams, you're not getting a bailout game against the Hornets or Magic or somebody else, when you have to go a 7-game series against another team who is as good or better than you. That's where that type of offense is limited.
So so if you were the Mavs, would you try to make a move, or would you?
I don't think they can make a trade for a star player. That, like, their draft capital is kind of depleted after the Porzingis trade. They gave up like 3 picks to the Knicks to get Porzingis, and then they ended up having to give up Porzingis and a 2nd-round pick just to get him out of there and to get Dinwiddie. So I don't think they can make a trade for a star player. I think the best way to add a piece is going to be in free agency and freeing up some calories or some salary cap room when, like, I think the best player, like a prototypical player to surround Luka with, would be like a Jaylen Brown, like a 2-way shot-creating wing like Jaylen Brown. Somebody like that. Obviously, there's not a lot of those out there that are just going to be available whenever you want, but you just got to be opportunistic. And, like, Dallas is a big city, and Luka is one of the best players in the league. They're definitely going to have to get creative with free agency pitches to add another star, because they're not getting one in the draft, because their pick's always going to be like 20th or something like that. They're not going to make a marquee move for a star via a trade. I think it's going to have to be through free agency.
But who's going to want to come to Dallas? Like, that's the thing about it. I don't know if like another star would want to play with Luka just because he dominates the ball so much. I mean, I think he had the highest usage rate last year with 37%.
And do you think he would dominate the ball as much if he had another star?
I think so, because when you look at Jalen Brunson, last year he averaged 16 with the Mavs. This year he's averaging 20.
Well, yeah, Brunson wasn't a star going into last season,
but he was still a quality piece.
But he wasn't a star though. He made a name for himself and played himself into a star after the postseason, and then he got paid for it, and now he's got more opportunity because he's not playing.
But what about Porzingis as well? I mean, Porzingis would just stand around the perimeter. I
attribute a lot of that to coaching.
Rick Carlisle? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, maybe, yeah.
I think if he had another, like, perimeter player close to the tier of his own, like a Jaylen Brown, I think he'd definitely be willing to give the ball up. 100%.
All right.
Because, like he's eventually going to realize, like, if he hasn't realized it already, that this brand of basketball is going to be limited in terms of how far you can go in the postseason.
We've seen LeBron go through his first years with the Cavs.
Yeah.
Didn't go nowhere.
Yeah.
But, you know.
And he's got to just put pressure on the front office, because it could be another LeBron situation where they didn't get him any star. They didn't try to. They didn't make that great of an effort to, and he up and left. Like, it can happen in three. Yeah, if it happens in 3 years, Luka will be 26. That would pretty much be the age that LeBron left, I'm pretty sure.
And honestly, do you see the Mavs winning in 2 or 3 years if they don't? If this is basically the same team, I don't see it. There's no way.
I think the pressure is going to be on them in the 2024 free agency, because I don't think it's a great free agency class in 2023, like this upcoming year.
I mean, Draymond Green.
Fuck.
That's really it.
Yeah. So yeah, they're gonna have to stay 10 toes down for 2024, clear up cap space for that year, because I think that's gonna be their best bet.